Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We will start our class with recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So, how are you? Iqbal Omar, apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah, kau baik, sir.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Nur Fatin?
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah. I'm good. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Hope all of you are good, right? So, do you have any question about our previous lecture or previous topic? Yes, someone requested to upload the video lecture for stick liability. I have already uploaded. Then I have uploaded slides, Infancy, and few slides I will upload today. So I hope you will get all the slides in your iPad. Okay, today we will discuss about infancy. Are you familiar with this word infancy? Did you hear this word infancy?
Underage or children, those who do not attain the age of puberty yet.
Yeah, almost. Anyone else? Anything else? Anybody? Anyone? Okay. Infancy, generally a state or period of being an infant. Okay. So, British law dictionary, they define it differently. According to British law, it can be defined as a period before one reaches the age of majority, age of 18 years old. According to Oxford Law Dictionary, can be seen on the meaning of infant which have a capacity limited capacity to contract. That means infant people, infancy who is under 18 years old. Yeah? Under 18 years old, yeah, other definition, okay. Juvenile Code Act 1947, Section 2 of Juvenile Act 1947 define about it. There is a definition they mention three type of infant people. Number one, children. Yeah, means a person under age of 14. Section 2 mention three type of infant people. So number one means a person under age of 14. Who is under age of 14? They will be considered, they will be treated as a child. Juvenile means a person who has attained the age of criminal responsibility prescribed in section 83 of the Penal Code, and in under the age of 18 years old. So 83 or 83 we will discuss it later. 83. Then young person means a person who has attained the age of 14 years old and is under the age of 18 years old. So 14 to 18, young person. So these three categories under infancy. So now we will discuss section 82. Section 82 stated nothing is an offense which is done by a children under 10 years old. That means, what does it mean? What do you understand by this section?
Immunity for children under 10 years old.
Yeah, immunity for children under 10 years old. Thank you. For immunity, they will be exempted from any criminal liability. If he is under 10 years old, that means if, according to this section, if he commit any crime, then he will be exempted for any criminal liability. Amgan,
Yes, sir.
so now, who is joining now? Noreen. Okay, so now application of 82. That means application of 82 in Malaysia, common law position and Indian law position. Yeah, if we see the position, Malaysian position, we saw under 10 years old. Any children under 10 years old will be exempted for any type of criminal liability. If we see common law mentioned that any children under 7 years old will be exempted for any criminal liability. That means a child under 7 cannot convicted for criminal liability. They will get immunity. They will be exempted for any criminal liability. Common law mentions 7 years. Indian law position, Indian law, section 82 of Indian Penal Code provides the same thing. Nothing is an offense which is done by a child under 7 years old. 7 years of age. That means the same like Malaysia. No, sorry, same like common law. So under 7 years, old children will be exempted for any kind of criminal liability. So under common law Indian position, if someone commit any crime, if any child commit any crime, if he or she is under 7, then he will be exempted for any criminal liability. But in Malaysian position, if any child, he or she commit any crime, and if he or she is under 10 years old, then he or she will be exempted for criminal liability. So Malaysia 10 years old and common law India 7 years old. Okay? Yeah. But it was just section 82 just mentioned. Yeah? But we have few cases. We found. In that cases, the accused was under 10 years old, under 7 years old, but they were charged. So R versus Babasan. In this case, a 5 years old was charged for running a bus without permission. Yeah, R versus Babasan. In this case, one boy, he was 5 years old and he was charged for running a bus without permission. Though the section mentioned nothing is an offense which is done by a person who is under 7 years old under Indian Penal Code, but in the Indian case here he was 5 years old but he was charged. And another case, Emperor versus Wali Muhammad. In this case, two boys was 5 years and 8 years charged for throwing a stone a running train. They were charged for throwing a stone a running train. Walter versus Ult. In this case, parents of a 7 years old boy were charged because a property stolen by the boy was found in their premises. Mars versus Lauder. In this case, a dad caught a boy for stealing and handed him to the police. Ham Bahadur versus Estate. In this case, three boys between under 7 were charged for stealing gold. So, nothing is an offense which is done by a person who is under 7 years old. It was a section said this, but there are few exceptions, few cases. In these cases, though they were under 7 years old, but they were charged. So you should know all the cases. If you are a lawyer, if you find this type of case, you can use as a reference. So you have to read all the cases, all the facts, all the cases available in Google. You will search, you will get it. So it is your homework. You have to read all the cases. Next class, I will ask you about all the cases. Now, okay, on recent case, I want to show you. Recently, I think last month, 4 children was charged for rape in Bangladesh, and they were arrested, and the court sent to them the reformation center. Yeah, there is a video, just police taking them to the reformation center. Just I want to show you. See this video. Can you see this? Yeah, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see? Did you see the children?
Yes.
There's a child, 7 years old, 8 years old. He was charged for rape, and police arrested them to the court. They bring to the court, and court sent them to the child reformation center. You know. Then it was many civil society journalists. They wrote lot of things. It was very high. Hot issue. Then immediately after one day, the High Court gave them the bail and sent to their parents. But they were charged, still under. They were charged, and it is still under trial. See? Though the section mentioned nothing is an offense which is done by someone who is under 10 years old. Bangladesh also they mention under 10 years old, but they were served. So we have some exceptional cases here and there. I just show you some cases from India. So read all the cases, see the fact. Then you will understand why they were arrested, and you can keep it for your reference. Maybe if you search, you will get some recent cases like that also. So now we are talking about Malaysian Penal Code. Just we talked about Section 82. Now Section 82 mention about that children who is under 10 years old. Okay. Now we will talk about Section 83. Section 83 mention nothing is an offense which is done by a person above 10 years and under 12 years. So they are also infant people.
Sir, I cannot see the scene.
Oh, you can see. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So we are talking about Section 83. Section 83 mentions nothing is an offense which is done by children above 10 years old and under 12 years old. Section 82 discuss the children who is under 10 years old, and Section 82 discuss who is above 10 years old and under 12 years old, who has no sufficient maturity of understanding to judge the nature and consequence of his conduct on that occasion. So nothing is an offense. Who has no sufficient maturity of understanding to judge the nature and consent of his conduct on that occasion. What does it mean? It means who is above 10 years and under 12 years, then nothing is an offense. If he commit any offense, nothing is an offense. You have to prove that. If you can prove that as a lawyer, that time he doesn't have sufficient maturity. He doesn't understand the nature of the consequence. Yeah, he or she doesn't understand the nature and consequence of that offense. He doesn't understand. He doesn't have any ability to understand that it is an offense, or he doesn't have any maturity to understand that if I do this, it is a crime under Malaysian law. He doesn't have this type of maturity. He did it just naturally. As a 5 years, 7 years boy or girls, they are doing something. They don't know. They don't understand it. What are they doing? So like that. If as a lawyer, if you have a client who is 11 years old or above 10 years old or 12 years old, who has committed crime, for example, theft, rape, or anything, or anything, robbery, then you have to prove that he or she doesn't have the enough maturity to understand the nature and consequences of that crime. If you can prove successfully, then he will be exempted for the criminal liability. If the opposition, the public prosecutor, proved that he had the enough maturity to understand the nature and consequence of that act, then they will be liable. They will be convicted. If you are a public prosecutor, you have to prove that time they had enough maturity to understand the nature and consequence of the act. Then they will be convicted. If you are the defense lawyer, you have to prove that time they don't have enough maturity to enough maturity to understand the nature and consequence of the act. Again,
Yes, sir.
how you will identify, how you will prove the nature and consequence of the act, how you will prove that that time mm, they were not enough mature to understand the act, and to understand the nature and consequence of the act. How you will prove? What do you think?
The parents.
Yeah, maybe you can. Yeah, maybe. Then,
Maturity.
sorry, Sufi.
Maturity.
How you will prove their maturity? How you will prove?
The environment of how he grows up.
Yeah, maybe. Good. Anyone else?
His education.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it is up to you how you will prove. But we have some um, policy, we have some way how we will prove. We will discuss it later. We are going to discuss it. Yeah, maybe circumstantial evidence. Okay, you have to show the circumstantial evidence, then eyewitness, yeah, etc. etc. You have to prove though they are 12 years old or 11 years old, but that time they didn't have the enough sufficient, they didn't have enough maturity to understand the nature and consequence of the act. Here few tests how we can identify they are mature or not. That time they understood how there are few tests. Yeah, one is policeman test, another is appeal test. Okay. So what is policeman test? Policeman test normally when the child, the court or the police bring them in the court, court can use this the two type of case, two type of test. For example, policeman test, there may be the court keeps them with the police or law enforcement agency, and then court will observe their attitude. If they are okay, they are afraid on police, they found okay their attitude is changed because they are police. If they think that okay, if I do any wrong or etc., police will arrest me or something else, then the court will assume that they are enough mature. Or maybe the police is there, they're also playing, fighting, they don't care about police. That means court can decide okay, they are not enough mature. Okay. Another case, appeal test. The court can put some apple and some money together. Then court can tell them to take. If they take the apple, then court will understand okay they are not enough mature. If they take the money, then court will okay they understand who is on good, who is on bad, etc. Then they are enough mature. These two is only the court can apply more than that. Court can apply something else also. This is the basic. Okay, court can apply these two. Maybe if the court think that okay, I will apply, I have another way, they can do that. Right? It is discretionary of the court. Maybe as a lawyer, you can show something else to prove that they were not enough mature or they were mature. If you can convince the court, if the court thinks that okay, it is okay, they are happy. If the judge is happy with your explanation, maybe they can accept it. Okay. Emperor versus Na Tuangkian. In this case, 12 years old. The boy was guilty for rape. Queen versus Chon Boy in this case also. So read all these cases. Death sentence over juvenile. Section 16 Juvenile Act 1947. This case you see limb hang versus PP. In this case, one boy was convicted for death penalty. Pistol was discovered with him. So read these cases. I will ask you next class. Okay, it is debatable actually. If we talk about the apple test and the policeman test, okay, it is also debatable because some people, maybe some child, they like apple and they can take apple. And some people, if we talk about the policeman test, some people, some student, some children, maybe their father is policeman or their uncle or their neighbor is policeman. So every day they see policeman, so they don't care about that. It can happen like this. So there is a lot of debate on that. Okay? This is not actually 100% authentic. So section 113 of the Evidence Act stated that a boy under the age of 13 is incapable of committing rape. However, textbook writers are of the opinion that the boy can be charged for an attempt to rape. Many authors, they mention, okay, section 113 of Evidence Act mention, okay, boy under age of 13 is incapable of committing rape, but we can bring the allegation for allegation and attempt to rape. Many authors, they wrote in their book, but a question arises when a children cannot be charged for substantive offense, how can be charged for an attempt to commit rape? In other words, only a person who can be charged substantive offense can be charged for an attempt to commit rape. Nevertheless, he can still be charged for outrageing modesty of a person under section 354 of Malaysian Penal Code. Now, like section 82, now we will see the position of Malaysian, position of common law, and position of India about section 83. Yeah, if we see the application of 83, if we see the Malaysian position, the age limit is between 10 to 12. So 10 to 12 years children, if they commit any crime, if you are a public prosecutor, you have to prove that time they have enough maturity to understand the nature and consequence of that. And in the common law, the age between 7 to 14 years. So if you are a public prosecutor of common law, under common law, and I mean in B10, then you have to prove that if any boy who is 8 years old, I mean the 7 to 14 years old, you have to prove that time they had enough maturity to understand the consequence and nature of that offense. Okay? Indian position 7 to 12 years. So if anyone commit any crime, yeah, if he is under 7, if he is between 7 years to 12 years, you have to prove that time they had enough maturity to understand the nature and consequence of the act. Again. Okay. So public prosecutor, if you are a public prosecutor, that means you are the government representative. You bring the allegation to in front of the court. So you will represent the victim. And if you are a defendant lawyer, that means you are representing, you are representing to the accused. So you are representing to accuse, that means you want that your client didn't commit any crime. So you have to prove that the children, you have to prove that children, he or she didn't commit any crime because he or she doesn't have enough maturity to understand. You have to prove that with circumstantial evidence. How you will prove you have to use your creativity, you have to use your knowledge, you have to study lot of cases, you have to study the previous judgment, precedent. Okay? You have to be brilliant, talent to do that. You have to convince the court. If you can convince the court, if court is happy with your explanation, then you will get the result. Yeah. Just we discuss the requirement for 83. Under 83, you have to fulfill two requirements: sufficient maturity of understanding. You have to prove sufficient maturity of understanding. That means reach the maturity age and nature and consequence of the conduct. The guys, he didn't understand the nature and consequence of the conduct, and he doesn't have sufficient maturity to understand the offense. Here, now the difference between section 82 and 83. Section 82, child under 10 years old. If child under 10 years old, they will be exempted for criminal liability if under 10 years old, under section 82. And section 83, the age limit is 10 to 12. Okay? Not an absolute defense, might be held liable. If the public prosecutor, DPP or PP can prove that time he understood the nature and consequence of the offense, maybe he can be liable. And the defense lawyer can prove that time he didn't understand the nature and consequence of the offense, then he will be exempted for criminal liability. Yeah. Then section 82 will applicable under 10 years old, and section 83 will applicable 10 to 12 years old. Section 82, no punishment imposed on the children who is under 10 years old, no punishment will be imposed. And section 82, yeah, if the public prosecutor can prove, the punishment can be imposed, they can be convicted. Not require any test under section 82, no test required. But under 83, yeah, there are two tests: appeal test, policeman test. Yeah, if the court wants, the court can apply all the tests to judge their maturity of understanding and judge they understood the nature and consequence or not. To identify that one, court can use this test. Yeah, few cases. Sufficient degree of maturity. Maturity can be inferred from the nature and quality of his act, word and action of the children at time of commission. When they commit a crime, then what type of action they took. Then you will understand what type of action they took, what type of word they use. You can prove by this circumstantial evidence, by this word, by their action, by their word, that time they understood the nature and consequence of the offense or not. Okay, these maturity, few cases deal with sufficient degree of maturities. Pulla Mahaputra, okay, Abdul Sattar, okay, Musammak, Aimuna. Here, few cases. All these cases discuss about the maturity of understanding. So these 4 cases also your homework. Next class we will discuss only these cases. I will ask one by one all the cases. You have to find the cases from Google and you have to read the fact of these cases. Amgan. Okay. we saw that 82, section 82. The Malaysian Penal Code mentioned nothing is an offence which is done by a person who is under 10 years old. British Penal Code, that means common law, mentions that nothing is an offence which is done by a person under 7 years old. Indian Penal Code also mentions that nothing is an offence which is done by a person who is 7 years old. Indian Penal Code and British Penal Code mention 7 years, and Malaysian Penal Code mention 10 years. What do you think? Which penal code is enough updated or mature? What do you think? What? Paham ka tak paham? Alif, tak paham ka tak paham? Malaysian
Paham.
apa paham apa? Malaysian Penal Code mention 10 years. That means he or she will be exempted for any liability. And British Penal Code, Common Law and Indian Penal Code mention 7 years. Who is correct? Which one is proper? Do you think? What do you think about these two? Do you think the Indian and British Penal Code or Common Law Penal Code they are good, or Malaysian Penal Code is good? What do you think? Yeah, tell me your opinion. Okay, I gave you 2 minutes to think, and I will ask you. Think, who is Penal? What is your opinion? There is no mark here. I am not marking you. If you answer wrong, I will not give you punishment, nothing else. Just I want to know what do you thinking, how you are thinking. Paham kan? Okay, think. 1 minute, 1 minute. So, what do you think, Alif?
I think can reduce.
Which one
Because
can reduce?
I think can reduce to 7
Why?
because children today very clever.
Very clever.
So I think lah.
Okay, good. Then, Kayom, what do you think?
I think based on right now the modern world, right? So children mostly like has been exposed to education, and some of them have like exposed to the internet. So better off to reduce to 7 because some know, even some cartoon stated about the bad things. Yeah. So basically education.
Yeah, good. Quratul Huda. Yes. What do you think?
Yes, sir. I think I agree with both Qayyum and also Alif in which that we should update our penal code and reduce the age to 7 because after all, kids these days are so exposed to the internet, and the internet are not all does not show all good things. And even though child offender in Malaysia is not as much as we knew, but they do have the potential to commit offense. So I think we should update.
Good, good. Sufi Nerina,
Yes, sir.
what do you think?
I am opposed to them since I think in general children in 6 or 7 years old are just kids. They don't know. They know that it's a bad thing, but they don't know what is crime. They know what is a bad thing, but they don't know what is crime, and they don't know what act amounting to crime. So I think it is better to remain 10 years old as age.
Hmm. Hmm. See? Anyone else? Akmal Arif? Akmal Arif mana? Okay, I think okay. Okay, Noor Irdina,
Yes, sir.
what do you think? You oppose
Uh,
or you agree with them?
I agree with Alif Koyum and Kratul because I
Hmm.
think once you reach the age of 10 years old, you're
Hmm.
already mature enough to
Hmm.
differentiate between good and bad things.
Hmm. Good, good, good. Noor Fatin? Okay. Okay. Natasha, are you here? Noor Shahmina?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what do you think?
I do agree that we should reduce the years from 10 years to 6 or 7.
Hmm. Good, good, good. Thank you for your opinion. Yeah, think, yeah. You are proposing, you are maybe agree with Alif or you are agree with Sufina. Yeah. So how, why you are agree? Okay, just think the reason why. For example, for my opinion is we should reduce to 7 because if we think, yeah, one 9 years old, 8 years old, now they understand if I take something without consent from someone, it is steal. It's stealing. I'm taking something without your permission. That means I'm stealing that. They understand it. Okay. For example, if I punch you, it is not good. Yeah. And if nowadays the child are very fast. Yeah, they are using internet, they are using technology. You know, when I was 10 years old, I don't know, maybe I didn't get phone, I didn't get internet, I didn't get laptop. You know, when I went to university, first year student, that time I got laptop. I use internet. Nowadays, my nephew, my niece, they are 5 years old, 6 years old. They are better than me to using mobile. They're using, they're playing game, etc., etc. Even I am not. Uh, I don't understand many things what they are doing in their smartphone. They're playing. Okay, they are browsing. Okay, many things they are doing. They are drawing in their phone. Even I don't know how to do that. Okay. So nowadays they are very smart. They are very fast. So, and you see now they are eating lot of food, you know, the very nutritious food, Okay, the children, the parents are very aware about their children. Okay, when their children 1 year, they're going to the taking to the doctor. 2 years, 3 years. Okay, they are testing. Okay, they have any lackings or not. They are enough potent. They are enough. How I will mention it. They are giving food according to their health. Then sometimes they are giving them the fat, okay, vegetables, okay. Sometimes they are not giving the rice. Okay, they are very concerned about their children, and according to the doctor's advice, they are giving lot of things. So naturally, and um, nowadays for the technology, they are bit fast. Okay, so we should think about that. Yeah, we should think about that. And if you think that Malaysian children they are not enough fast like UK or India, they are still slow. They don't have enough maturity until 10 years old. If you believe that, you have enough reason to believe that. Okay, that time's okay. No need to reduce. Okay. So if any question, if you see in the final exam, what is your opinion about this? Then you have to write all the things. What do you think? You have to give example, you have to explain, you have to give illustration, etc. etc. Okay. So next class, I told you to read few cases. I think many cases. So I have mentioned in the slide. We will discuss all the cases. I will ask you all the cases. Don't forget to read all the cases. That is our homework for next class. Yeah. Anything else? Any questions? Any comment for this lecture? Anything you I need to explain again? No. Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. But read all the slide. Yeah, if you don't understand anything, okay, if you think you need more explanation, clarification, then don't hesitate to knock me. And you can take note next class. You can ask me also. Then we will discuss it also again. Don't worry. So stay home, stay safe. Yeah, thank you so much. We will conclude our class with recitation of Tasbih Kifara and Surah Al-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So see you at tutorial. Who is going to present? So ready for the presentation. Okay. Good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.